So yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for dropping by. Trying to think a few bits and bats of club news just as an FYI. Obviously, we're on our second run of the intermediate training course. That's on its fourth week, and the next series of the intermediate training course starting in September is now fully booked. We have 54 people attending that course. So the next one will be advertised most likely late October. Things going on at the moment, we have a raffle on the 1st of October for an opportunity for people to help support the club. Half of the proceeds from the raffle is going to the RAIBC, which is the amateur radio charity for the UK. And they provide things like audio materials and support for those with disabilities wanting to get into amateur radio. And the other half will come back into the club itself for whatever you guys come up with, to be honest, to spend it on. We've had Synotel and ICOM so far have offered some various bits and bats over to us. Obviously, we've got Marty's generous donation of an Anytone dual band FM rig, Stu and his 49-1 Ununds, and the call book, the 2021 call book from the RSGB. So there's quite a few interesting prizes, and yeah, plenty going on. The club call sign's also available for all UK full licensees who want to have a go working at it. So tonight's presentation, it's a very short presentation, but a lot of practical stuff. So let me see if I can get screen share to play ball. Share screen 2. Okay. So tonight's presentation is going to be foundation training, the practical training, what you missed. So if you have passed your foundation recently, or if you haven't passed it, it's in the new syllabus, this is basically what you've missed. Right now, there is no foundation practical required for anyone taking foundation. It's a suspended requirement. It's not a permanent fixture. The intermediate did have a practical element to it that has been removed. So the intermediate syllabus no longer has any practical elements. The foundation syllabus does. So tonight we're going to look at the elements of the foundation syllabus that are covered in the foundation practical. If you go onto the RSGB website and download the foundation syllabus, it's all of the stuff in section 10. And to put it simply, it's basically all of these points. So this isn't the order they appear in the syllabus. This is just the order I'm going to do them tonight, because to me, this makes logical sense as an activity. But for the practical, you have to correctly connect up a station, use a manual antenna matching unit to tune a HF radio to more than one band. You have to adjust the physical length of an antenna to get the lowest SWR. You have to demonstrate the ability to make a contact using FM, using SSB, and the ability to demonstrate the ability to make a contact using a mode other than telephony. Now that is a modification on the old syllabus. It used to be a Morse appreciation section where you had to send each other Morse letters back and forth. So now you can either make a contact over a data mode, or you can send a message back and forth using Morse code. And the Morse code does not need to be transmitted on the air. It can be done locally. So nowadays, it comes down to the trainers and what they have. For the sake of today, I'm going to be doing Morse because I've fortunately still, I do a weekend fast track foundation course for Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society normally. And obviously it's not happening at the moment, but I do have the training here. Yeah, it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit older than the one you have there. It has 1980 something printed somewhere. So yeah, getting old, but good. Cool. So basically, I'm just going to keep an eye on chat. I don't know if, Paul, you could keep an eye on chat as well whilst you're here. And if you see any questions, shout out. But I'm just going to go through each of these steps and explain what would happen in the practical and talk through them. So we'll start with connecting up a station.
Okay, I've got the chat open, so if anyone has a question and you can't use a mic or mic shy, etc., just type it up and I will let Francis know at the earliest point.
So hopefully at this point, you've got a spotlight on me and I've forced my video to be the predominant video. Excellent. So, setting up a station. During the foundation practical, the instructors will essentially give you all the components to construct an amateur radio station. It could be a HF one or a VHF or UHF. And the way that we run it in Milton Keynes is we give you all the components and basically say, we are an instruction manual. Ask us anything that you want. If you're not sure what goes where, ask, we'll give you the answers. But here they are, off you go. So obviously, I'm just going to be doing it myself tonight, but we will go through everything that you would get handed. So first of all, I have here a SWR meter for 2 meters and 70 centimeters. We have a Yaesu FT8900 quad band rig. So this runs 2 meters, 70 centimeters, 6 meters, and 10 meters, all on FM. We have.
Someone will probably ask it, what power levels does that one do?
That'll go up to 50. We have a MH48 Yaesu microphone, a patch lead, journeys, a power supply that is most certainly turned off, and it will stay turned off until the very last minute. And if we can do this right, Alt N, I believe, we have a dipole antenna hanging up on the window. So the very first thing we get the, let's adjust. So that's a crap camera. Very first thing we get people to do is basically connect up the hardware. So let's throw this out to text chat. What do you think will be a good starting point? I'm easy to go with whatever you guys think I should connect up first.
I'm just waiting for anyone to type it. If you want to unmute, you can.
Power supply to the radio.
Right, we got Owen with mic into the rig.
That sounds like a good start to me. So there was a power supply to the radio. As long as it's turned off, I wouldn't do it. But generally, we say that should be the very last thing that you do. So there we go, power supply in. What have we got next?
Okay, next one is SWR to radio.
Okay. So see on the SWR meter, we have antenna and TX. Which side am I putting the catch cable in?
So
yeah,
TX.
Right, well, the answer we've got is TX to radio.
So TX. Radio. I did spot the question about will the presentation. There is only that slide, but this whole video will be uploaded to YouTube and can be used as people wish. Okay, so as we stand now, we've got a rig connected into the SWR meter, microphone connected into the radio.
Is there anything missing? SWR to antenna.
This sounds very good. Okay.
Right, so someone's asked a question. I'm going to slightly modify it. Where would you put a filter in this system?
So you wouldn't be expected to know that at foundation. That's my only answer. I'm going to keep to the scope of foundation. It depends. Depends, kind of.
Personally, I'd put it as close to the radio as
Radio.
possible.
Yeah.
So you would put it before, after the radio, before the SWR meter.
Yeah.
And the one that I use is a low pass filter. So anything over 54 megahertz is filtered out.
Okay. Right. So last connection,
sorry.
anyone?
Sorry, that's on HF. It wouldn't work on the radio we're using it.
No, we wouldn't use a dummy load in this case to calibrate the SWR meter. It's not that kind of SWR meter. Yeah, Matt's shouting power. I shall do power. I'm happy with that.
I was talking in a chat earlier, and one of the cables I've got to my power box has 2 black cables, and one of them has a white stripe. So make sure if you've got something like that that's not red and black, check which way round they go.
Also an interesting discussion about fuses on cables.
Yeah. In amateur radio, there's no, it's usually ideal if you can try and get cables with fuses.
Yeah.
Hopefully your devices should be fused anyway. But if you get the chance to have them with a fuse or not, get them with a fuse.
And ideally, now the logic used to be, the request used to be that you had them on both the positive and the negative, but that's gone now, and now you should only have them on the positive run. There was an amusing scenario where devices were failing.
Right, Laura's got a question. Does that radio have an ATU?
No, because it's a 2 meter, 70 centimeter one, so you don't typically tune VHF, UHF antennas.
Basically, this is a similar setup if you had a HF radio and a HF SWR meter.
Yeah,
in fact, or tuner.
We're not going there yet, but we will be going there shortly. So let's stick to VHF, UHF, and what we have. This isn't. This is more a. These are the components. What are you going to do? Practical elements. So we've done radio, microphone, radio to SWR meter to antenna, and power supply to radio. Everything look good to me. It seems okay. Seems safe.
All finger tight cables.
Yeah, everything's in. Nothing's going anywhere. There's no frayed ends or anything sticking out that, which is a novelty. There we go. So I think we're good to turn it on. So power on. Ah, people. I wasn't expecting people. And yeah, there you go. So let me just turn the thing on. So that is literally the first step of the practical, is assembling the station together. The second one is going to be tuning a dipole. So if I switch camera, so
you probably want a slightly better one for the meter.
yeah, no, it'll get repositioned. It's fine. It's because it's a bit dark in this room. So here we have a dipole set up, and here we have a meter, which we'll just shift over. No, don't stop sharing my video. That's not going to help anyone. Now, unfortunately, the LED backlight decided to break on the meter, but it should still be workable, although not ideal. So if I put the radio down here onto 2 meters, and we'll stick it on 145, 100, and put it on low power mode.
What's the first thing we'd still do? See if we get any answers.
So I'm about to transmit whilst I test an antenna.
Yeah, Robin's got it. Listen, listen, listen.
Yep. So I'm going to go to...
Even if we're on 5 watts, it's still a courtesy to check the frequency is clear.
Yeah. Now, I'm not got a handheld hand? I do. I don't want to transmit on this because I know I'm transmitting into a dipole that isn't calibrated right at all. So I'm just going to grab a little handheld and do the best that I can. This is M0 UKF. Is this frequency in use, please? Okay. Yeah, nothing heard. That's fine. So this particular kind of SWR meter needs calibrating for the antenna that you're using. I know it's a bit fuzzy because of Zoom's high quality video streams. I did turn HD on first, but it didn't have it. But this particular kind of SWR meter needs calibrating for the antenna. So each time you adjust the antenna, you have to calibrate the meter. So the way that it works very simply is you have your microphone. When you key it up, you can see the needle moves. So to calibrate it, you move the function switch to the calibrate position. You key up the radio and you adjust this knob until it's at the very top of the scale. Then to test the SWR, you key down, switch onto SWR and key up. And that's giving me a reading of, well, 9 to 1. So are we good to go?
Matt says, oof, no.
Yeah.
Bob says no. Torin says no.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And Adam says, hell no.
I would say hell no as well. Generally, anything over 2 to 1 is a bad idea. The closer to 1 to 1, the better.
1 to 1.
Yeah, well, 1 to 1's great, but 2 to 1 or less is fine generally. So, I mean, can anyone tell me why we're at risk of letting the magic smoke out? Here's my exciting dipole.
No, adjust it to 11.
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
says too much reflected power, length of dipole reflecting, wrong length dipole. Most of the power is going back into the finals. Returned voltage is 9 times bigger. Power coming back into the rig.
Yeah, and it's because the dipole is currently
a little bit of any or all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, at the moment we've got a 20 centimeter long dipole.
Also, something that no one mentioned is it's unbalanced as well.
Yes, it is.
My
Actually,
view is correct.
it is, but that's only because I managed to break it.
It probably won't be as bad on 2 meters, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so currently the legs are about 20 centimeters each. What should they be for 2 meters roughly?
Right,
It's a
we're getting a
dipole.
couple of answers. We got 50 centimeters and 100 centimeters. 50 centimeters each side. We've even got a 49 centimeter each side.
So I would, because of the, I mean, aside from the fact that it's going to,
And we've got an exactly 487 millimeters each side.
Okay, so I would give the points to Gary, and everyone else gets a pass, and whoever said 487 gets a fail because they haven't factored in that this is a metallic window frame. So that'll teach you. Right, 50 centimeters. Let's try that. So,
well, actually, he was only 0.3 of a mil out, 0.3 of a centimeter out. So,
okay. So, question: what am I to do now?
He's trying to be teacher's pet, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. What am I to do now? I'm just about to go adjust the antenna. What's the first thing I should do?
Right, we got to turn the radio off.
Anything else?
Listen.
When you say
Power
turn the radio off, yes, power off. How do I know that some crazy kid isn't going to break into my house, come upstairs and start mashing the mic? You don't know. Don't risk it. Play it safe. Always turn off the power when you're adjusting an antenna. Even if you think it's safe, just turn it off. So I've turned it off. Right. That's not what I want to do. Thank you. It's Alt and N to switch. Okay. I'm happy. I'm going to turn it back on. That was about 50 centimeters on each side.
Right, we've got a question from Matt.
Yeah.
M7AQT. If we are on FM, do we need to move to a vertical polarization?
You just need to match the polarization of the station that you're transmitting to. So right now, I'm not going to be transmitting to anyone, so it really doesn't matter. But as you've kind of indicated, the tradition is FM is vertically polarized, and that all comes down to mobile rigs, to be honest, because you don't want antennas off the side of cars. You want them vertical on top of the roof, and that's the only reason we do it. So yes, it's a good point, but it honestly doesn't matter in this case. So let's go back on, tune back into our frequency. First thing we should do.
Yeah, I think we should clarify for the foundation, it doesn't matter at this stage. Later on, you'll probably want it like that. Is that a better answer?
No, it doesn't matter. For intermediate, you just need to be aware that the two antennas are the same polarization for both the transmitting and the receiving station on VHF and UHF.
Yep.
And on HF, it doesn't matter because it all goes to whatever anyway. Okay, so anyone remember what I'm going to do now to check it? First thing I have to do.
Right, Bob says recalibrate.
Yeah,
Matt says calibrate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Owen says calibrate. Yeah, you're probably putting a few watts down.
Yeah, I am. There we go.
It's possible that the camera might still flicker depending on the SWR, so...
Okay, so calibrated. No, it's because it was on 50 watts.
Thank you very much.
SWR. That's 1.8.
Because the camera's not very clear, which side is the lowest SWR?
So you can see the red line. That's bad.
Yep.
1.
We want it without even moving.
Yeah, so that is currently 1.8. Can we settle with that? Shall I change it? I mean, it is acceptable, and especially considering it's basically touching. It's between. I mean, you can't see, but it's basically touching a window frame.
Your windows may have slight metals in them as well.
Yeah, I think let's give it a tiny power off.
Probably just shorten it slightly.
Yeah, just a little on each side, because I did go over and as the guys correctly said.
Yeah, as Theodore said.
Theodore correctly said it is slightly over. It is slightly under that. So let's put that back on. Go down to low power. Recalibrate. That's down to 1.5.
Yeah.
We'll take that. I'd pass that.
Yeah, so he does get an extra credit then, I'm sorry.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, absolutely. So that is setting up a station and tuning an antenna and varying the length to see what happens. So where we gone? Correctly connect up a station.
Can I just check? Does anyone have any questions with regards to that process so far?
Boom.
Nothing at this stage, so I assume they're all either happy with it or they got no questions at this stage.
Okay. So let us stop sharing. Let's try an FM contact on 2 meters here.
Wasn't there something earlier on one of your frequencies?
That was repeater. We're going to need a better antenna. Let's take this. Let's go. So this is my Diamond X50 that's on top of the roof that I'm just plugging in. I normally use it for my local digipeater.
Right, Adam says listening on calling frequency. So I guess he's close to you, hopefully.
Not that close.
When Gary says, when very close to tune, are you going to share the tip to tell if you need to extend or shorten?
You can, I mean, you can say if you want, Gary, basically if you tune, as you tune the radio up and down, if you transmit and you are on a 2-to-1 and you tune the radio down, so if you're on 145,500 and you tune it down to 145 exactly, and the SWR improves, then it means the resonant frequency is around 500. Therefore, if you want to shift it up, you reduce the antenna slightly. So if you want it to be resonant on 145,500, you would slightly shorten the antenna. And if it was the other way around, say if it was resonant on 145 and you needed to get it down to 144,300, which is the SSB calling frequency, you'd know to extend it. The reality is, with 2 meters, 70 centimeters, the thickness of most materials used for antennas is such that there's such a big bandwidth, it will cover most of the band once you've got it anywhere nearby anyway. So generally you're okay. Yeah, Gary said the similar comment. So do we use 50 watts or 100? Oh, I think...
As it's a foundation, why not 10?
Oh, go on, because I'm on... okay, we'll use 10. We'll use 10 and see what happens. Okay, so...
You know me, I'm just being devil's advocate.
I tell you what, we'll use 10 and I will even use my foundation call sign. Let's commit to it.
Or why not use the club call and put it in the log?
Because I've told people locally to listen out anyway. So it's kind of cheating. Okay, so I'm just going to, if you Google Essex Ham call scripts, I tend to use the same script in the training courses in Milton Keynes, but I'll bring it up on the screen. So these are the scripts that we give out to foundation candidates. And generally speaking, there is an experienced operator waiting to respond. So tend to give them this in advance, give them a pen and paper, tell them what the call sign is going to be. So if it was a foundation course we were delivering for OARC, it would be M0OUK. So I would be calling out CQ, 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 this is M0OUK. And I'll do that a few times. Hopefully someone will come back to me. I'll tell them to stay put while I find a frequency. We'll go to that frequency, see if it's in use. And if we don't hear anything, we'll head back to the calling channel, ask them to QSY. And then when we've confirmed that they're receiving, we'll give them a report, say who we are, where we are, what our signal report is. And then when we've finished, we'll wish them 73s and hope to talk to them again. So I have a lot of QRM at the moment for some reason, but let's give it a go. I've got no one guaranteed to be lined up, so this could just be a huge flop.
Yeah. Okay, while you're doing that, can everybody see that script, or does it need to be zoomed in a bit?
Okay.
I was going to check with them, but if you're happy to zoom it in.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's see what happens. Hopefully you can hear the radio if someone does come back. Let's have a go. What are we going for? What do you reckon, chat? Foundation call sign or club call sign? 10 watts or 100? 10.
The first answer was 10 watts.
And we've got 100
watt club. Francis already said he's going to use his own call sign, so it'll either be the foundation or the full.
Okay, let's go for foundation. So
no, Marty, no.
That's Italian QRP. Yeah, this material, it's not this material. The whole event, the Zoom call is recorded and it's uploaded to the IRC YouTube channel, which you can find.
That's why I haven't repeated it.
But yeah, okay, let's have a go. Let's go for foundation, and if needs be, we'll go for full. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is M6 UKF. M6 UKF calling CQ. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is M6 UKF. M6 UKF calling CQ. CQ, CQ. This is M6 UKF calling CQ. Someone there. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is M6 UKF. Mike 6, Uniform Kilowatt Fox. M6 UKF. Calling for CQ, CQ, CQ. The QRM's a killer, unfortunately. I can't hear anyone at the moment. So this is why we organize things in advance. There's someone using the GB3MK repeater, but no one kicking around. Okay. So we'll just pretend someone came back. Let's just try 100 watts once. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is M0 UKF. Mike 0, Uniform Kilowatt Foxtrot. M0 UKF calling CQ2, CQ2. Okay, yeah, no, nothing heard. Okay, not to worry. So, I mean, you get the idea anyway. We would listen through, hopefully get a response, and if they did respond, we would shift up a frequency. Do you want to? Should we role play, Paul?
I think we should get one of the other foundation people here to do, or even someone who hasn't got a call sign.
If anyone's
We're doing it on here.
Yeah, if anyone's happy.
Would someone like to role play with Francis?
That sounds so
doing
wrong.
a QSO.
so wrong.
Yes,
Go on.
I'll do it, Paul.
There we go.
Awesome.
Right, so
Who've we got there?
that was Tristan, I believe.
Tristan. Awesome. Have you got a call sign?
Hi, buddy.
Hey,
Right,
how you doing?
I'm going to mute, so you carry on.
Okay. So I may as well do the lead, and you can come back to me if that's all right, Tristan.
Okay, Francis.
Okay, so let's go through it then. So CQ, CQ, CQ. This is M6 UKF, Mike 6 Uniform Kilowatt Fox, calling CQ, CQ 2 meters. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is M6 UKF, Mike 6 Uniform Kilowatt Foxtrot, calling CQ on 2 meters.
Mike 6 Uniform Kilo Foxtrot. This is Mike Whiskey 3 Victor Juliet November. Returning to you. Very good evening. The name here is Tristan.
Hi there. That's fine. Hi there, Tristan. Are you okay to stand by MW3 VJN? This is M6 UKF. Are you okay to stand by while I just find a clear frequency?
This is Mike Whiskey 3 Victor Juliet November standing by on the frequency.
Thanks. So at this stage, I would tune up to say 14525, or maybe 145475. First thing I would do is say, this is M6 UKF. Is this frequency in use, please? And I wouldn't hear anything. So again, I would say, this is M6 UKF. Is this frequency in use, please? Nothing heard. So now I'll return to the calling channel. MW3 VJN. This is M6 UKF. Please can you change frequency to 145475? And we'd hopefully drop down. And when we get to the frequency, I would give them a minute. And then I would go MW3 JN. This is M6 UKF. Are you receiving?
Mike Whiskey 3 Victor Juliet November receiving Mike 6 UKF loud and clear.
Brilliant. Yeah, MW3 VJN. This is M6 UKF. My name is Francis. Foxtrot Romeo Alpha November Charlie Indigo Sierra Francis. Your signal report is 5 and 9 plus 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 plus. How do you copy? This is M6 UKF.
M6 UKF. Mike Whiskey 3 Victor Juliet November returning to you, Francis. Thank you for your 59 signal plus plus plus. You are also 59 plus plus plus. Mike Whiskey 3 Victor Juliet November, back to you, Francis. M6 UKF.
Yeah, Mike Whiskey 6 Victor Juliet November. This is M6 UKF. Thank you for the contact today. I appreciate you putting in the effort and speaking up for us. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you again when I finish the course. I think I've done that one. But yeah, best 73s to you from M6 UKF.
Yes, 73s to you, Francis. Keep up with the good work and hope to catch you further down the log. And all the very best to you, my friend, and stay safe. From Mike Whiskey 3, Victor Juliet November, Tristan in West Wales, United Kingdom, 73s and all the very best.
73s, M6 UKF, clearing the frequency. So, bit daft when we don't have an actual rig and stuff, and actual contacts on there, but that's it. The candidates would be expected to do that. We would, if we had multiple candidates, we'd pair candidates up. So typically just give a handheld to one and the rig to the other, send one downstairs, they make the contact with the other, and then they swap back and forth. And that would be the general plan. So what have we got to do? I think we're about halfway through. Share screen.
Does anyone have any questions at this stage?
So we've demonstrated the ability to make an FM contact. This brings us on to, that's last. Theodore says, please can you explain what's so special about 145 500 megahertz? Yeah, absolutely. So in the UK, as with everywhere in the world, there are band plans, which although they aren't part of the license conditions, are essentially an agreement as to what each part of every band will be used for.
While you look for yours, I'll say that they're available on the RSGB website and they are normally updated annually.
Yeah. So 145 500 on the 2 meter band is a designated FM calling frequency. So the reason why I'd start on 145 500 is because if people were looking for FM contacts, that's where they would be listening. Anyone know the sideband version of it? And just to pick up Tristan's comment, it'll be posted on YouTube.
Adam says 144 300 megahertz,
Yes.
I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. 144 300 is the.
I should say that Nathan also got in there just a few seconds later.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's the one. And again, it's on the RSGB band plan 2 meters. It's all. I don't know why the website is so badly.
Go back.
I hate this presentation
band
of
plan.
it.
It's the website is not that user friendly.
Go to the tab HTML.
I prefer the PDF.
Go to the tab. I use the HTML.
I don't know. I just got so fed up with the setup of this thing that I always end up just using the PDF for my own sanity. But now I can't find the blooming thing.
That's what I said. You use the tab HTML.
Oh, what are you looking for, Francis?
I was just showing the 2 meter calling frequency on the screen.
Oh, yes.
Someone's going to ask, what is Note 12?
Digital voice users are asked not to use it. Digital voice should go to 144 6125. Anyone know why?
Because you won't be understood on FM.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it, basically. Okay, so.
Sorry, I should let them. Well, it's not coverable in the foundation anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay, you get the band plan in the foundation anyway. So, right, let's stop sharing and let's go on to an antenna matching unit. Now, the lighting ain't great, but hey ho.
You might need to focus on yourself.
Meh.
No, as in Zoom.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just setting up the second camera. This is the joys. I've got 2 webcams and yeah, interesting balancing act.
No, so I mean, it makes you full screen.
Oh, you mean it's not got spotlight?
That's the one.
All right.
Where's my coffee, Paul?
This was brought up for me, so and I can make it disappear.
Okay,
Naughty
so
boy. Naughty boy.
right, alternate video. Okay, so the next thing we need to demonstrate is manually tuning the antenna system using a antenna matching unit. Any idea why we prefer to use the term matching unit at Foundation rather than an ATU?
I'm just waiting for any answers on the text chat.
So yeah, it's still on discussion of
No.
the RSGV plan, so we'll go on. So the reason why we call it an antenna matching unit is it matches the antenna system to the rig. It doesn't actually tune the antenna in any way. Getting a match between the antenna system and the rig does not make the antenna system more resonant in any way, shape or form. All it does is make sure that the RF energy doesn't end up in the back of your rig. You'll probably lose, if it's not a resonant antenna, you're probably losing most of the RF to heat in the coax.
We got two answers: because it doesn't tune the antenna, and because you match the antenna to your desired frequency or 50 ohms.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's my manual ATU. It's a very simple affair. It has a band select, transmitter match, antenna match. It allows you to pick one of two antennas with a little switch, turn the tuner on and off, and change the range for these dials. These dials are slightly different from the tuner you saw earlier, the ATU unit, SWR unit you saw earlier. This shows the forward power. So there's a needle that will show how much power went forward, and this shows the reflected power. So the other needle shows how much comes back. You can see very roughly there's some lines. They're quite hard to make out on Zoom, but there are some lines across the scale. Basically, where these two needles touch, where the line through them is the SWR rating. So any time where the center point of these two lines is less than 2, which is around there, and that side, we're good. Anything on this side is terrible. Just quickly going around the back of the unit, there's not really much to see. There is literally just 2 antenna inputs, and on the what may be the right, depending on where the zoom flicks the camera, and then the output. So it's just like the SWR device, just with the 2 inputs. So what we're going to do is we're going to tune my antenna, which is a metal fence that runs around my estate. Don't ask. For multiple bands. So let's power on, because I was there. So so you can't see that because I don't think it's going to do. Yep. So we're on the 40 meter band. I know that's pain, but we don't really need to see that. So first thing we need to do to tune for 40 meters is we need to select the band from the central knob. So that's 7 megahertz. We need to make sure the tuner's turned on, which it is. And then, interestingly, the first thing we need to do is switch the rig to AM and listen and get a sense for the volume of the rig at the moment. Now, what you'll notice is if I turn this transmitter matching knob, I'll just turn this up. Don't know if that came through, but the background noise completely disappeared. Back, gone. So basically, when the antenna system is more resonant, more of the signal makes its way through the antenna system into your rig. So when you're barely hearing anything, you've got a terrible match. So with these, the first thing you do is tune with your ear. So you need to find the point where it's at the quietest and the other point where it's getting quieter, and then tune to approximately halfway between. And then we do the same with the antenna matching element. So audio goes. Let's turn it up a little bit. So audio gone, around there. So that's my by ear tuning. It's not going to be right. So now we need to actually test it. So what mode shall I put the rig on to test? Got lower sideband, FM, AM, TW is also a valid option, I guess. I'm actually going to stick with...
I will say for my HF setup, I normally use AM and about 10 watts because my tuner needs a bit more than 5 watts.
Yeah, I forgot this rig doesn't have FM, so I am going to go for AM. Anyone know why we need AM?
Or why do we not use it? Or why do we not use SSB?
Yes, we need a carrier. We need a constant output.
It doesn't need to be full power because we can do it on 10 watts.
Yep.
But we need a carrier signal, which SSB it uses your voice, not a carrier signal.
So I'm going to use 25 watts just because I can. So I'm going to key up and we'll see how we're doing. Okay, so if you remember, I said between the 2 points of the dial is where it currently is. So when I key this up, they're about there. It's infinite on the scale. Well, it's just below. If it's just between 10 and infinite to 1. So not too shockingly, that isn't acceptable.
So, Theodore meant full power is transmitted by carrier. SSB does not have.
Sorry, no, you're absolutely right.
It does not have a carrier. Okay, yeah, we thought full power you meant something else. So
yeah, so we're going to key up, and this time I'm going to gently adjust the matching side. You can see it's starting to get there, getting there. Oh, much better. Okay, now I'm going to adjust the antenna matching outside. Oh, yeah.
I think we were there, weren't we?
We're not far. We are. It's very delicate.
Oh.
We are currently at
1.5
to 1. It's not as clear from.
Is that 1.5 or 1.15? We can't see the dials.
Yeah, it's about between 1.5 and 1.7 to 1. So, are we happy enough with that? I would be personally 1.5 to 1.
From the way I can't see where your dial numbers are, but from the display of the needles, I would say that is fairly good to go.
Let's have a listen. My root noise is beyond impossible to work anything.
It's not bad for fence tenor.
Okay, so 40 meters is unworkable to me at the moment. So we're not going to get a contact on there. It's just a quick. Oh, right, there's a station on 20 meters. Let's try tuning for 20 instead then. So
right,
same.
Can I make a suggestion this time?
Yeah, sure.
Do it at your normal speed. Just show how quickly it can be done. Does that make sense?
Yeah. This one's a horrible one to do it on there.
Have I stitched him up, everybody?
All right, so let's just turn up the sound, set up the camera. So tuner on, switch it to 20.
Don't rush it, but do it at your normal speed, I mean.
Yeah, put it on AM. Find the good point, and then just dial it in. There we go. Done.
And the reason I asked Francis to do that is obviously we went a bit slow, probably about 1/5 the speed the first time, but once you get used to a tuner, you can get it really quickly. I use a slightly smaller but similar box for my mag loop, and at first it would take me like 5 minutes to tune up. I'm being serious, because it's so precise how we got to go, but now I can do it in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm dropping down to 80 meters just to see if we can get a contact, because I know that the fence happens to be great for 80, as you do. So let's just check that.
On mine, it gives me tones when I'm in the right position because it's a mag loop. So
there you go. Oh, look at that.
Was that 1 to 4, 1 to 3?
That's 1 to 1.
Is it 1 to 1?
Yeah, it's a good fence. So I'll tell you what, we can't
Well,
actually.
well, there is a question. Can we match antenna with a CW signal instead of AM? It will take less band and less RFI as a result.
You could do, but my rig won't put it out without a tone being generated through a special port. So
Yes, you might have to actually key it up as well on
Yeah.
some rigs. So
And I
whilst
can't.
whilst you might have it in CW mode, you might not actually generate a tone.
So yeah, I can't basically, but I'm not going to be transmitting on anyone because what did I know you didn't see me do it, but guess what I did before I started tuning up?
You didn't listen.
I did listen, but
Not for long.
I didn't say it, but I did.
If you didn't say it, are we sure?
Yes. Well, one thing I will do though, because we're not going to have an easy contact on this, but what I am curious of is if we can see me on 80 meters.
Was you on 80 or did you change to 20?
I've changed to 80. Let's go for 3725 and see if we can see me. We may need that. Max. And just quickly put it on AM.
Can I suggest, if you're looking for the waveform, you mute your on there, because otherwise you might get feedback.
Oh no, it's not on it. I'm using Bluetooth headset.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to try transmitting some sideband on 3725. Let's see what happens. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is Mike 0, Uniform Kilowatt Foxtrot. It is there. It's just not very strong. Let me switch to AM, and it should make a
How many
clean
watts are
line.
you running?
50. Let's try, but I am using a fence. Let's try sending in an AM carrier on 3725. There it is.
Band conditions are very good looking on 80.
Robin sent me a private question, but I'll ask you it after the chat.
Yeah. So if you look on the 3725, and as I key up, this is M0 UKF, you can see the AM carrier. So I'm definitely getting out. Good times. Again, I don't think I'm going to be able to make a sideband contact, unfortunately.
Okay, we've got another question here. Would you normally use an antenna matching unit or an ATU? And this is from Hugh.
Would I use an antenna matching unit or an ATU? So they are the same thing. ATU is the incorrect representation of what they are, but they are the same thing, an ATU and an antenna tuning unit and an antenna matching unit.
They're interchangeable, but an antenna matching unit is a more accurate description.
Yeah. See if I can hear anyone on 20 while you have a little chat.
Ask if the frequency free to match an antenna, but at the same time 9:1 ratio will kill TRX when you ask.
There is a paragraph. Oh, a catch 22. You don't have to ask if a frequency is in use before you transmit on it. You just have to listen. The only license condition is that you must be identifiable, but that doesn't mean that you have to be identifiable at any given second. So it could be that there's a station on 20 meters there.
I can actually give an example of this.
Yeah, go for it.
I do FT8, as Francis will know. I do quite a bit of FT8, and you don't ask if the frequency is in use on FT8. You just look for a free place on the waterfall. It would be silly to ask if the frequency in use on FT8. So that gives an example. But when I transmit, my call sign will go out on the first time I talk to someone.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you're tuning up, you'll be listening and listening and listening. You tune up and then you identify yourself so the people know who you were, basically.
And because I've got quite a weak signal getting out, I'll probably run about 50 watts when I do FT8, maybe a little bit more sometimes. But when I'm tuning, I go down to 10 watts, as I said earlier. So
if your 10 meter SWR meter has a matcher built in, do you still calibrate it first or go straight for matching? Oh, Oh, it's very specific. I'd have to play with the unit, to be honest. I wouldn't want to. I'm going to move my camera back. I've been playing with answering questions and things. I've been doing the intermediate training course for the last couple of hours. So my brain, in terms of certain questions, is overloaded.
There's a lot of activity on the band tonight.
With your tune and load question, Gary, I think it's the first thing I would say is check the manual. But normally you'll get used to which you will probably give you a better audio signal, as Francis showed first. It'll probably be the one on the left. You could hear a bit of a change, and it was when at least over the headset I'm wearing, it was a little less on the right hand side one, which I assume was the load.
So, yeah. No, I see what you mean now.
And I suppose it could also come down to which brand you're using as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't massively make any difference. All you have, come here, let's do the other thing that I do when asked, because if you can just, inside here, there is a giant capacitor on this side and a giant capacitor on that side. It really doesn't matter massively which one you tweak first. You end up with exactly the same result. If you can talk for a minute, Paul, I'll just grab the screwdriver.
On my mag loop antenna thing, I've got a similar sort of setup, but it works slightly different in that I've got I changed one for the band select, which will be the capacitors moving at a larger rate, and then on the fine tune a smaller rate, but this is done remotely on the mag loop. But the principle would still be the same. It's just how I operate them is slightly different, and hopefully I'm waffling enough for Francis to nearly be there.
4 more screws.
Oh, you're not waffling enough. Keep
Oh,
waffling.
I know. Anyone think I'm not a ham? Is there any other questions people have got?
Keep waffling, Paul.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to get what Robin sent to me privately, which I think he wanted me to not mention till later.
I'm not.
It wasn't rude. Basically, Robin asked, does it matter where the goat is tied to the fence?
And also, is the goat polarized?
Can you make curry goat with it afterwards? Because it ain't surviving 100 watts shoved down it.
Oh, that's one thing I miss about not working at my office at the moment is working in Croydon. There was a few places you could get curried goat, and it's always awesome.
If you get an authentic.
Oh my
curry goat,
goodness.
oh.
Francis is drilling his handset. Good Lord.
It's in a way. Oopsie.
Don't demolish your desk.
Don't try this at home, basically, Paul.
There we
Make
go.
sure it starts out warranty first.
Up. Oh, or down. That's it. There we go.
That's it. Oh, it's gone again. That's
There
it.
you go.
Antenna matching unit, 2 dials, that one and that one. They're just connected to 2 capacitors that are actually identical.
So in theory, Gary's question would be, it doesn't actually matter too much.
They're both identical. It's basically capacitor, and I forgot what this damn thing's called. Inductor. And as you turn the band selector, it changes which point it pulls off the inductor, and the other 2 are just 2 capacitors. So it makes absolutely no difference which one you adjust in practice. But yeah, that's all that's inside a manual ATU. They're very big, very competent things. Whereas in automatic tuning units, they're basically a load of preset capacitors that are switched on and off by relays.
Theodore had a question about what's the difference between antenna matching and ground matching devices. I would say that's probably a better question we could take to the antennas channel after this chat, because this is focusing on the foundation stuff.
So I think we just have the Morse games to play. So I'm just going to put my screws somewhere safe so I can reassemble my ATU. Because I do like that ATU. I use it all the time.
Actually, I'm going to take Theodore's question and put it in the antenna chat so that we don't
That's on my
forget
new
it.
table now. Shocking.
I'll have to get you a new table, Francis.
Well, it cost me 40 quid from IKEA, so I'll live.
Yeah,
Right.
you're fortunate. You have an IKEA down the road, don't you?
I don't know if that's fortunate, but I do.
Well, you got to think, I got to come all the way from my ends to your ends just to go to IKEA.
Right, so last thing, a little bit of a Morse quiz. So get yourself a pen and paper if you don't
Hi,
have
Adam.
them.
Evening, Adam.
And what we're going to do is, hopefully you guys can hear, nope, turn it on. Yeah, everyone hear that? Oh, no? Yeah. Let's try that again. Okay, is that coming through okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Although I should know the answer to these, I'm going to sit this one out, but I will feed back any answers from the that I get on the text chat, giving the first name first.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So the way that we're going to do this is the final part of the foundation practical. If you're using, if you're not sending data messages, which to be honest, most clubs aren't really into data, so it's very rare you'll find a club that does it. We do, but we also play with Morse for the fun of it. But there are a list of there you go, you saw the answer briefly. There are a list of messages that are acceptable to send. So what we're going to do now is what normally would happen is I would transmit a message to you. You would, as you go through this, write down what you think you hear. So for a start, just write down, if you hear 3 dits, D, 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 just draw down 3 circles. Demos, never a good idea. So what I recommend doing is don't worry about the order or what you're turning it into.
Okay, so you want them to have a pad of paper.
Pen and paper. If you hear 3 dits, write yourself down 3 dots. If you hear, for example, let's do the letter D. Da, dot, dot, D, da, dot, dot. Just write down everything that you hear and just do it one line at a time. And what we'll do is at the end of the message, give you a minute or two to then look at this reference sheet that's on screen and see if you can decode the message that I sent. So we're going to use an actual message that's on the foundation practical at the moment.
Okay, you're going slow. Will you repeat it, or are you just going to do it once slowly?
I'll tell you what. No, I'm just going to do it once slowly because that's what we do.
Once slowly, okay.
So good effort on it. Do your best.
If you miss a letter, the usual thing is carry on, get the rest of them, because you might be able to figure out what the missing letter is.
Yeah, especially on this one.
I am not going to take part. I'm going to watch for any messages in case people have missed stuff and things.
Okay, so I don't do CW.
I don't anyway either. So.
Anyone who's watching this will know that I am clearly an inept CW operator. So, so the good news is this will be painfully slow. So here we go. So we're going to start in a few seconds. So first letter. Third letter. Fourth letter. Fifth letter. Sixth. Seventh. Eighth. And ninth. I'll do that one again. Okay, next letter. Next letter. Next letter. Next up. Let's do that again. And next letter. Moving on. And again. And again. And the next one. Nice and easy. And the next one. That was moving on. And next letter. On our last 5 characters now. That was, and the next letter. And the last 3 letters, here we go. And the next one. And the last one. Ooh. Right, I can stop embarrassing myself now and put that to a side. So a short QSO, that was a typical Morse QSO, pretty representative of what would actually happen. Give people a minute or two. If you've got an idea, feel free to post it on chat. And if you want to keep going, don't look at chat when someone posts it. See if anyone was decoding.
Paul, I'm going to tag you in the channel. You can definitely tell I don't do CW.
It doesn't necessarily mean that the answer is correct on the chat either.
Oh, fuck no.
Language.
I'm horrendously miles out.
We've got one from Sarah. Interesting, interesting.
I was trying to do it in my head whilst reading the letters, and I would say that's closer to what I had in my head with Sarah than what was posted on Discord.
Yeah.
The bot's accurate. My CW, not.
Copying to Boston candidate does.
There's a couple of letters I can recognise, so
I'm really good with E. Did. There you go.
actually, whilst everybody's doing this, I did post the other day in one of the things, do we want a Morse chat room, i.e. at some point if someone wants to add do a bit of Morse over Discord? I'm not telling you how that will be set up, but
I think I think
there are enough people that might be interested in trying it at some point.
I think it's one of those where we need someone who's good with Morse and happy to teach, and that's not me organizing something like it. We've got a lot of people who are really, 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 really close.
What about Robin? Although you got probably got a space in the wrong place, but there wasn't necessarily spaces anyway.
Yeah, the spaces were wonky. One character out on Robin, which could equally be me. Yeah, one character out, and I would blame that on me. It's the third one. It's the length of the tones. Okay. So I'll give people just a second to shout, don't, stop, stop, wait. But if people don't do that, I'm going to assume to give the answer. No, we're not seeing anyone screaming. Okay, so let's stop it there. I'll need to stop the share, I'm afraid. So you'll have to just go on Google. You can find that sheet anywhere. Hopefully back to spotlight on me. So the message, the correct message, hopefully was M0ODA DM5 RTS. Your report is 579.
And can I just say, up to that point, I was doing the first few letters, and I thought it was the club call sign.
No.
The D got me, so but the M0O, and that's what threw me. So it was an O.
No, these are from the
No. What I'm saying is, I thought it was. I was trying to go along in my head, and I got to M0O, and I thought you were doing the club call sign.
No. So these are from the official pack. The RSG.
I had M0O in my head, but because I was expecting you next, it kind of all went to shot.
Yeah, I think my Morse sucks. It's more than likely anyone who's got it wrong, it's my fault, not yours. It's fine. You can get away with that this time.
Well,
in the actual practical,
Sarah did actually get the O, not the S. So between them, they kind of did it.
Well, Robin's S was. If I bet I did my O's for too long. I bet my O, because if you look at the O and S are the same in terms of the pattern.
Yeah,
it depends on the
Sarah read it as O.
Yeah, well, that's because Sarah knows the stuff clearly. But there we go. No, so that was it. In the actual practical, obviously, you guys would then have the opportunity to demonstrate your superior skills in sending a message back to me, and I would obviously do a good job of decoding it, or I'd make sure I knew exactly what card you had before I gave it to you. But there we go. The joys of being the trainer. So that, I think, is wrapping us up in terms of the practical. Let's just go back. So correctly connect up station, use an antenna matching unit to tune an antenna system or match an antenna system, just physical length of an antenna slowest SWR, make a contact on FM, and SSB. Well, we kind of did. Thank you, Tristan. Demonstrate the ability to use another mode to communicate a message, which we did with Morse. And that was us. All done.
And just for a laugh, I'm going to post my main UK and American call sign in Morse, which is all basically dashes.
That's just showing. Yeah, makes sense. Makes life so much easier. So yeah, hopefully that was useful for you guys, and those of you who haven't done it, or perhaps those of you who are licensed before it became a requirement.
If you keep that there for a second, Francis, with anything we've gone over there, or Francis has gone over, is there any questions anyone's got at this time?
No, it's looking good.
If you've got any questions, you can always chuck them in one of the study rooms or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are new, by the way, one thing the practical doesn't do is teach you how to use your own equipment. That's one thing we always found a bit frustrating, is it's all well and good connecting my equipment up, but it doesn't help you with your own. And that's where a club can help, actually having people there who will have a vague idea of what goes where and how it works, and what you might want to consider getting. And for example, you don't need an SWR meter, and if you're buying a commercial white stick,
actually, there is a question now. Stephen has asked, when will you post the video to view, as I missed the first half hour?
I'm uploading both this and the intermediate training course, which is obviously hidden, up to YouTube tonight and in the morning. So the rest of this will be up for everyone.
So definitely within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours. The video will be linked on the notice board. And as with all of our club nights, if you go onto oarc.uk and click on key links, YouTube videos, you can access every club talk that we've had in the past. We don't have that many at the moment because we're still new, but we've got a few key links.
If you want to find the YouTube handle there, Stephen, have a look in notice board, as some of the previous videos have already been shown there.
Yeah, cool.
Including me and my bullseye backdrop on my Raspberry Pi.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording at this point for YouTube. So thanks everyone who's caught up, and any questions, give us a shout on the Discord. And yeah, catch you later.